Continue. Welcoming back onto the podcast for the fourth, maybe fifth time is Tim Meadows. Tim is a nutrition expert. He is a nutrition expert specifically for a group fitness population, both group fitness professionals and participants. He's also a firefighter. He's a dad. He's a coffee enthusiast, and we were chatting off air just before we started about rugby and just the cold weather in Scotland and how it's killing me in my triathlon, and we're just reminiscing about cold weather rugby. How are you, mate?
Yeah, mate, very well, thank you. Just off my 2 night shifts, and I've got 2 weeks of leave to look forward to.
Excellent.
Unfortunately, haven't got too much planned, obviously with the current restrictions and stuff, but just looking forward to some downtime, seeing the wee one, and hopefully do a little bit of sledging before the snow disappears.
See, when you have your 2 weeks leave, like, are the first couple of days just spent like kind of recovering and kind of getting to know your own name again?
Yeah, a little bit. The first few days kind of run off to the end of like your kind of rota, so you don't really feel as if you're on leave. It only really feels like you're on leave when it comes to like the Monday, if you know what I mean. So like the first few days is just kind of like normal stuff, and then you're suddenly like, oh yeah, I'm not going to work this week, right? What should we do? Or and you try to figure out what you need to be doing, and try to put a few things in place, plan a few things, but it's just trying to unwind stuff, put the shoes away, put the bag away, and then just grow a beard. That's what I do every time. I get 18 days worth of growth. Just start getting to that nice fuzzy itchy stage, and got to shave it all off and look like a 14-year-old again. Well, not quite a 14-year-old, but you know what I mean.
You posted on social media in lockdown 1 about the beard trimmers, and say when everybody realizes they're shaving their head with their dad's razor that he used to shave his balls.
Yeah.
I love that.
But it's true. I mean, think about it.
No, that's so true.
So yeah, up close to the chin, and then down close to the meat and veg and the nuts and sack and stuff. Yeah. There's some crudeness right off the start.
Observations of you on social media over the last 2 months or so. You've really embraced being the father to a beautiful daughter. And you've gone full, like, you're getting into the beauty regimes, you're getting your nails done. How's that all going?
I'm kind of loving it, to be fair. I'm really enjoying it, because now when people go, Tim, what are you doing with that nail polish? I actually have an excuse. I'm saying, oh no, it's for my daughter. What are you doing buying Rapunzel dresses and all these kind of things? Because I actually, and why are you watching Moana again? And why are you watching Beauty and the Beast? I actually have a real reason. And I think some of those, just slightly off topic, I think some of those old classics are absolutely fantastic. I think we were lucky in an age of being 80s kind of 90s children, when you had things like that, Beauty and the Beast, Peter Rabbit, some real quality, good viewing. So I've been thoroughly enjoying and going, right, come on now, let's go watch a movie. Come on, let's go. But no, it's been great, mate. And I always kind of knew you kind of get a little bit bossed around, and the wee one is very, very particular. She knows what she wants, switched on, and she's got really good manners, which is one of my kind of big things. I always kind of wanted to always say please and thank you and stuff like that. So when she asks you to do something or tells you to do something, you're just like, what's the point? Whatever. Totally.
This is me speaking as a non-parent, but I really see in about 10 years' time, for people like you with young children going through this pandemic, they're just going to turn into these real hardcore children, in terms of they'll just turn around to their parents and say, what do you know? I lived through a pandemic by the time I was 4 years old.
Yeah.
So I really fear what's going to happen in the next 10 years, because there's going to be all these walking, talking children who will just be so much more powerful than us, because we never lived through a pandemic before we were 10.
Well, yeah, no, totally. But if you think about it, if you think about how powerful we think we are because we know how to use an Apple smartwatch, or because we can, record a video with subtitles or do a podcast, right? In 10 years' time, the technology that is going to be a form of a habit that our children will have, we will be like going back to the old cassette tapes, trying to rewind that tape kind of stuff, and nip off the little tab of your VHS, to make sure you record it over your movies or whatever, So yeah, I think that's going to be the kind of frightening thing. But fatherhood's great, mate. Honestly, she's really, really kind of grateful, really kind of lucky. She's an absolute joy to kind of have. And for you know, and I think it's important to, particularly father to kind of girls as well, try set up that that level of standard of, I know she's really early, but always try to, you know, be there for her, always try and show her how she should be kind of treated as well, you know, and what's important. So although I obviously tell her that she's really, you know, beautiful and pretty and gorgeous and stuff like that, it's always reminding her that she's very kind and she's very sweet and she's very generous, and, you know, please and thank yous and the share. So it's the non-physical things that I think is really important to try to get into anybody's head, but particularly young girls, because there's this real environment out there that, you know, it's filter city, it's slimming world, it's the jabs, it's the fakeness, it's whatever else, and what you see on Insta or wherever else on real people, you know, and then you just get down to a validation thing, a liking thing, getting the thumbs out and stuff. It's just a bad place to be, and that all comes down from self-worth, really. So just trying to make sure that she's in a really, really good place. And yeah, just enjoy it, you know. Honestly, some days she'll make me kind of tear up just by doing something, and she'll make me laugh because she's bossed me around, and I'm, again, for the second time, wearing my swimming shorts on my rug on a tiled floor while it's -5 degrees outside, pretending I'm at the beach, running into the waves, which is the tiled area, right? So the carpet or the rug is the beach where we build the sandcastles, and then we run out and splash water on the tiles, right? So God help my neighbors downstairs, we're running around playing this kind of stuff, you know. So
love it.
So yeah, mate, it's great.
Well, I got you on to kind of talk about, you know, nutrition is probably the subject we'll go to. Just to keep it really, really current, I don't know if you saw the news today and this week about the UK have just released stats to say obesity is a bigger killer than smoking. So it's now official that obesity is now a bigger killer. And at the same time, I think it was today, it was later announced that this miracle drug from, I want to say Sweden or Norway, that suppresses appetite, and everyone who's been on it so far, everyone, high percentage of people have like dropped a fifth in body weight. And I just kind of saw these two things and thought, how can you release them both at the same time in the UK news? So what are you actually telling us? You're saying, right, obesity is going to kill you more so than, let's say, smoking is, or so many other illnesses and diseases. Here's a drug that will stop you from being obese.
Yeah.
And it's kind of, I just saw this and I was kind of like, no, it's the wrong message.
You always got to wonder the kind of timing of things, you know, and the kind of influencing and hidden agendas perhaps, and who's pulling the strings, you know, because a lot of big companies are behind things, and the governments will have their own targets, roads, agendas, and invested interests and stuff as well. So it's, you always got to wonder, like, where did this come from? What's the point of this, and all that kind of stuff. But that one there, I mean, we always kind of knew obesity is a big, massive kind of killer. You know, it's just a bad.
Well, the thing is, we knew that as like the fitness population, you know, connected with gyms and work in the industry, exactly. But did the rest of the nation, never mind know that? Did they care? Even if they did know it, did they care? And I think that's the frightening question.
Yeah, I don't know if it's a case of people always think that it's not relatable until it happens to them, sort of thing, or it's not my problem, or, you know, we'll just look for the next diet or the next fad, or somebody will fix it. Somebody will give us like a shortcut, you know, gastric banding or these kind of drugs and stuff like that. So, or medications or whatever. So yeah, it's not a good place. But I mean, I've always been one for like the root cause kind of approach, right? Like I rant daily at work about root cause and culture environments when they kind of fire and stuff. And I look at things that we do in society where we always add on like a control measure, right? We always add on, but this is like the workaround. This is how to deal with this. We very, very rarely actually just roll up the sleeves, have this uncomfortable conversations that go, right, what's the root cause? Okay. You know, and providing these kind of drugs and everything else isn't addressing the root cause. And the root cause is, you know, lack of information or lack of self-worth, you know, a whole combination of things. Maybe, you know, I don't think it's ever one thing. There's probably 2, 3, 4 things that all accumulate together and create this kind of perfect storm. So no doubt the change in the kind of schooling economics has an impact, right? No doubt microwave TV, instant culture living has an impact, because now the idea of spending 23 minutes in the kitchen, you know, now compared to 10 years ago is crazy. We want to come in, we want a quick 5-minute meal, you know, because we're too busy getting more streaming off of Netflix, or because we're too busy, whatever else, you know, because we get told that we have to work longer and whatever, you know, all these different things are kind of going on. And I just think it's a mass accumulation of the things that have created this perfect storm where we now overeat, we comfort eat, we don't take accountability for things, and we're always getting told that it's not your fault, you know, it's because of gluten, or it's because of sugar, or whatever else. And all these things over 5-10 years have now obviously created this perception that we'll keep doing it because we know that the fix is this drug or a gastric band or this drug or something like that, right? So we never really actually look at going, well, let's not try to get there in the first place. What can we do back in schools, back in high school? What can we do with, you know, they talk about hitting more VAT with kind of sugar and stuff like that, okay? But what about making more fresh food a little bit cheaper and making more takeaways and more those things a little bit more expensive, you know, maybe shift things that way, or, you know, what can we do? It's just a case of, well, he has a drug, so it's never going to address the root cause, and that's where we kind of think like you're always going to be up against it.
You said there about schools, and I think that's a big one. Like when I'm king of the world, that's the change I'm going to make. Like kids in schools are going to, you know, PE is going to be, and it's, you know, it's not going to be PE, it's going to be games, it's going to be activities. It's going to become a daily thing, not a twice a week thing that you can opt out of if you forget your kit. You know, they want to make it fun. And then secondly on that is like just basic nutrition. You know, how easy is it for a kid at school at their break time, you know, to go and get a sausage roll and a can of sugar?
Totally. And I'm sure we all, and every kind of listener will be aware that within schools, in high schools, you know, I've got a high school literally just up the road, and we see the kids walking to Greg's, walking to Subway and stuff like that, you know, and for me, I know it's very different because South Africa was a very different culture. You know, you got dropped off at 8 o'clock in the morning, you got picked up either at 3:30 or kind of 5 o'clock. You're in school the whole day. Going to home for your meals wasn't a thing. And I think that goes back to the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s culture where you would actually go home. You know, children would go home and have a meal with like the mum who didn't work because the old-fashioned, you know, society that dad work, mum stayed at home kind of stuff, you know. But now kids just go to Subways and Greg's and stuff like that. So there's that automatic assumption where I used to get given like a piece, you know, a banana, a little chocolate, and like a liter of juice, and that was it. And as you got a bit older, instead of one piece, I got like 8 pieces, 2 bananas, and 6 donuts somewhere else. I mean. But it was the same kind of thing. It's like, so you kind of learn about foods there, you know, and it's even trying to get some kind of clients to kind of get around the head to go, you need to do a little bit of tracking because it's the only way, if you look at a food label, you know, or do a bit of research, or just literally look at the food label and go, okay, this has this much macros in it. This has 10 grams of carbs, 30 grams of fats, and 10 grams of whatever. All right, so you need to learn what's going into your mouth, because it sounds so obvious, but unless you look at what you're putting in your mouth, you will never know what you're putting in your mouth. Yeah. So it's like, you know, but if you had that basic level of understanding from junior school to high school to whatever else, you would actually have majority of this kind of like knowledge. You know, and I know that certainly back in South Africa, it was they wanted to disengage the woodwork engineering stuff because that was very boyish. And then they wanted to remove the domestic, what was it called? Domestic education, I don't know what the other word was, but that we wanted to remove that because that was very girl only. You know, we wanted to kind of move forward, become more equal, and get guys learning about foods, get you know, girls learning about engineering and stuff like that. So I don't think those subjects were wrong. It was perhaps the separation, going, right, you have a penis, you go to woodwork, right? You have not a penis, right? You have the opposite, and you go and learn how to bake cakes. Okay, I think it should be in a case now where every school child should be accessible and be involved in like both, because the engineering, mathematical side is really important for anybody and everybody, because we want people in those jobs to be male and female, obviously, to debunk those inequalities. But you also want guys to be able to learn about, you know, how to basically just do an omelet, or how to do basic stuff in the kitchen, because, you know, if you ask maybe like your parents, or my parents, you know, fathers generally are quite restricted, unless they had a big passion for it, very restricted in what they do in the kitchen. You know, is that kind of old school? Whereas
Guilty.
now, you know, whereas now it's a bit more, guys know a bit more about kids. You're seeing young boys and teenagers and like toddler boys being more involved in helping mum and dad in the kitchen and stuff like that. So that you know, we are moving forward to that, but it doesn't mean that you can't have domestic education, teachings in school, and still that engineering, woodwork kind of stuff as well. That wasn't the issue. It's the issue that you kind of separate it by sexes. So it's that basic knowledge that you learn in school, along with things like taxes and investing
I think that's
all this kind of shit,
so important. Like, no, I said this at the start of lockdown. I have a funny feeling to say it to you actually on a podcast or at some point. But anyway, I said, if there was the education system in the UK, Ireland, Northern Ireland has basically been the same for hundreds of years. Like, it really hasn't evolved at all, but the world has evolved so much. So a quick example, when I went to school, 80-90% of everyone in my school were going on to do a trade. You want to be a joiner, you want to be a builder, a plumber, whatever. That's what everyone was doing, especially the guys. Whereas now people are going to school and they don't want to do a trade. They want to work in graphic design, or they want to quote unquote be an influencer for whatever reason. So like the jobs have changed, but the education hasn't. Like, it hasn't evolved at the same rate. I think now if lockdowns taught us anything, like the education system, one of the only ways kids can be educated right now is from behind the screen, on Zoom calls and webinars and all the rest of it. So we've changed how we're educating them. Should we not change what we're educating them as well, and their topics and subjects, and make it more real to the world they're going into? And that's everything from health to industry, because the world's different. And I think the education needs a complete overhaul, especially when you look at stats about kids, especially kids from let's just say poor families who maybe have poor home lives, where those kids underperform, and a lot of it's linked to like sleep and how they're getting to school. But yet in the UK, we still insist kids are in school for like 7:30, when what we actually know is people, some people, kids, adults, perform better in the afternoon, perform better in the morning. Sleep obviously has a lot to do with it. So why don't we start to, and not when I'm king of the world, that's something I would love to see changed and more thought put into it.
It's kind of funny, because if you had to rate, how did 12 years of school education, okay, I'm guessing the UK is much the same, it's like 11 or 12. I know there's a difference between 16, you can leave that year, or whatever else, but in South Africa it's pretty much 12 kind of years. I'm pretty sure that's pretty much most of the, 10 to 12 years, right? If you had to score 12 years of schooling education on how well it prepared you for adult life, on a score of 0 to 10, what would you, me, and every listener right now, if you had to pick a number, right? I doubt anybody's picking anything above 5. Okay,
I think our generation,
like 1, 2, 3, or 4s.
Yeah, I think our generation, because we went to school in the 80s, 90s, and we've seen the most change in terms of industry. I think most of us would say like 5 or below. I really agree with that. Yeah.
So when you think about things like what's kind of got you through, it's about like things like building relationships, and like working colleagues. It's about dealing with people. It's about, and basic stuff like we mentioned earlier on. And I know, you got a big compassion for as well. It's just like basic business stuff, basic tax stuff and all this kind of stuff that you just didn't get taught. And you should be getting taught this like in school, and not just, your Oxfords and kind of Cambridges, where the elite wealthy maintain their elite wealth because they have this, and they kind of teach their kind of children this. Whereas the other 80-90% are still trying to figure out what the fuck an ISA is, and all this kind of stuff, and about tax returns and just basic stuff like that. So, but it's not really prepared you, and the biggest thing that's going to get you through life, you could probably debate this, I guess, is going to be, from my opinion, things like mindset, resilience, and like your self-worth and confidence. I think that's that's it. Having things like a growth mindset, having things like or everything in that aspect that's going to help you deal with what I call life's shitballs, right? When something going along nicely and then fucking something will happen, right? COVID will happen, or a breakdown relationship will happen, or a loss of a job, or you get a punctured tire, or you get a leak through the roof, right? Things happen, right? You can be as positive as you want to be, but life will just throw shit at you every now and again. And it's how are you going to deal with that? So unless you have, that resilience, okay, that ability to get knocked down, come back up, focus on what you can control, and then move forward, you're going to be fucking squashed. And that's one of my pet peeves about this participation medal stuff, where everybody's a winner. And you go, no, I'm sorry. Not everybody is a winner, because if you all applied for the same fucking job, the 10 of us, one job, we're not all winning. We're not all getting it. Like none of us are kind of.
Oh.
None of us need to now figure out how do we deal with that, and how do we move forward. And it's not like temper tantrums, don't have to cope, and then you get this expectant kind of mindset, where we think everything should be so easy. Mm-hmm. So, I don't think schools really prepared us well for kind of adult kind of life. And this, it is a big, massive topic, but as you said, things are changing constantly. And I just don't think the education system is kind of keeping up with it. The last few months, along with kind of coaching stuff, I've been more sort of reading and getting a nose for disruptive technologies and stuff like that with, like things like Tesla and all that kind of stuff. And it's scary how there is so much breakthrough in like technology and advanced and AI and robotics and all this kind of stuff, and clean energy and stuff. All these innovations are happening at the same time, when normally it was like spanned apart by 10, 20 years. Yeah. But we're getting so much stuff now happening within a very short space of time. Within the next 5, 10 years, life's going to be even more different, and the education system is going to be even like more kind of out of date. So yeah, it is a pain point, and I think that's where the parents kind of try and pick up most of the slack and try to help their children the best they can, fill in the gaps. But as you said, you're going to have such a wide variation of what parents are telling their kind of children. You could have people that use a growth mindset, that do read books and whatever else, that can maybe help the children really well. Or you could have parents that are just not really interested. You could have parents that work a lot, that just don't have that much time. Or you could have just parents that just don't have that ability because of their social economic status at the moment. So
when we're in charge of the world.
Yeah, mate. You me for president, mate. That's what we need.
There'll be some accents that need a lot of subtitles. So.
Can you imagine like the buffet table at every meeting? Rows of jelly babies and donuts. And
yes. It was about a year ago. Jump Live.
Yes, it was. Yeah.
In Glasgow. It's mad, isn't it? Like I remember not so much that weekend. The next weekend, I was down south. I was in England, and my uncle. Do you remember in London last year? There was like the busman's meeting.
Yeah.
My uncle was actually at that. He was in the
cool.
same building, and that's when COVID was starting to spread. So it's mad that that's a year ago, and we're literally in the exact same place. or could be worse, I suppose, than we were a year ago.
Yeah, possibly.
But you spoke a lot about nutrition and all that, and rather than go into that, what's the crack with you now and your business and your work? I know you've been working on a book, which is exciting.
Yeah, well, pretty much how things are going to be, and I guess as with most entrepreneurs and small business owners and all that kind of stuff, I guess COVID was a big shocker for a lot of buddy, and coming from like a business kind of point of view, it's all very easy to say it, but they always can say, you're going to have one stream of income sort of thing, and try and have more than one thing to offer in case that kind of goes away for whatever reason. And no doubt a lot of instructors kind of felt that as well, to try and now provide something else, how they can help participants and kind of members. So I just basically kind of realized that one, personal coaching is great. It's probably what I prefer, but it was my first kind of go-to. It was like a high price ticket sale for quality, high value one-to-one coaching, not only about nutrition, macro stuff, but obviously all the stuff that goes with it. In order to help people actually make change, you need to address mindset, relationship, all this kind of stuff, daily habits, etc. So and that's been really good. I've end of last year, I was the biggest ever been. I had to put people on waiting lists several times. So it was quite weird, where a lot of people really struggled, financially. You would never have thought that what you would probably call a non-essential service, that wasn't really that cheap, being actually quite in demand. But it's because of the value that, in my opinion, the value that it brought people coping and keeping on track and addressing comfort eating and all that kind of stuff. So as a lot of business guys will say, as long as providing the value, people will obviously, still kind of seek you out, sort of thing. So I definitely found that. But then it is very time consuming. It takes a lot of time to do check-ins, to have the phone calls and all that kind of stuff. So it's I just realized that I needed and I wanted to reach out more. And as much as I'm not huge on really hitting social media like hard and really networking that way and really researching the hashtags and all that kind of stuff, all the stuff that real laser focused entrepreneurs would kind of do. I just didn't have the time for it. It wasn't my, like, I didn't feel not comfortable with it, but I just didn't go down that route. So I was never really finding myself put in a position where I was getting in front of enough people's kind of faces more than the one-to-one clients. So although the feedback was coming back was great and the service was there, I wanted to reach out to more people. And I knew that the financial thing and time constraint is obviously the two biggest limiting factors. So I have a number that I'm maxed out with one-to-one, and I just can't do more than that because there's only one of me and so many hours in a day, and it falls behind priorities of obviously, my wee girl and work and stuff. So, so that's like maxed out. Once that maxed out, I can't help anybody more. And putting stuff on social media is obviously really quite good, content, videos, but again, you're hiring a platform to do the work for you. It's not always dependable, and there's a whole debate about algorithms. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't work, and all that kind of nonsense. And the minute you get a business account, then maybe try to force you down the paid route, all that kind of stuff. So I just thought there's only so much you can really do, and that's where the ebook and the training course kind of bore out from, was creating a much lower priced, sort of entry fee, a price, like a lower price ticket to get basically very, very similar. The coaching, the advice, the guidance, the everything that I was pretty much doing to one of my clients, not on a personal level, but on a holistic level, I guess, for like the use of better words. So what I was kind of literally telling my one-to-one clients, I kind of put in the book and I put in the training course and gave everybody in the training course an insight to basically how I coach one-to-one clients. So that was basically things priced now between 10 and 50 quid, which is achievable, manageable. A one-off tenner for a book, fine. A training course, 30, 40, 50 quid, fine. For a training course is four nights, 4 times 60, 4 1-hour sessions. So and that's how it sort of came about. I literally launched the training course first time end of last year, first week December, literally with like 3 days notice, and was pleasantly surprised. It kind of sold out twice. And I wanted to keep the kind of number down because it wasn't about the monetary value by any means. It was about making sure that people could come on and have a discussion and talk and have a really, really good close-knit sort of training session. So that was really good. I got great feedback by it. I was really kind of blown away. And it just massively highlighted I've been using this word a lot lately, like the disconnect and the knowledge gap that fitness instructors, fitness professionals kind of have in terms of their own nutrition, but also how they can support their clients through nutrition. So, when you and I both obviously been through our Les Mills initial model trainings, we delivered them, AIM stuff as well and whatever else. And you're not going to get nutrition stuff on there because it's teaching you how to deliver a group exercise workout, how to make it fun, how to make coaching land, et cetera, et cetera. Similarly, with a PT level 3 course, there's a little bit of nutrition in there, but it's very generic. It talks about, generic health and it's helpful. It gives you a good base, but it's not anything substantial because, hey, it sounds crazy to say it. It's a PT course, okay? It's teaching you about muscles and assertions and all that kind of stuff, energy systems, et cetera, et cetera. So that's what it is. And then I found out of the 70 people I had in the course, 10 of them were PTs and quite experienced PTs, and all had a different range of knowledge, all based off their own experience. And this is what I found, is that you may be a PT that has been in the sports, arena really quite well. You follow like what I'll say, the right evidence-based kind of people, and you've got a really good understanding as to what's kind of needed. So brilliant, okay. Or you may just be a fairly new qualified PT, but you've come back from, generic population where you've only really seen nutrition speaken about by my good friend Gwyneth Paltrow, and it's fads, it's diets, it's all this kind of like gimmicky bullshit stuff, where now, although you're PT qualified, your nutrition thought is to put everybody on a 1200 calorie diet, and you don't know how to manage or support people differently because you just got this one method approach. So a client, like a paying PT client going to a different PT, ideally should be getting a good level of personal training service, but in terms of the nutrition, it could be very, very varied. You could be, good. You could be supported well, or you could just be getting really, really shit ineffective PT advice. And was really pleasantly surprised, because it's always difficult, talking to your fellow colleagues almost, and saying, look, this is how I support my nutrition clients. This is what you might be able to take away and add to your PT service, because it's not just about, did you track this? Well, this is what to do, okay? Because I don't think the lecturing approach works, right? We adults, you need to be coercive. You need to get them on board, you need them to kind of buy in, and you need them to kind of lead. Yeah. So you need to do everything according to what their circumstances is. So you gather all the information and you have the conversations, and then you come together a plan that you both agree on, and you give some focuses, and it's about language, aim to, try to, as opposed to do this, whatever else. So it's like, here's some stuff that I do that I found, very good, successful, whatever. And this is what you may be able to apply or add to your existing PT service. So that was the one big portion of it. The other portion was personal, fit instructors coming on board and going, all right, yeah, cool. This is how I can calculate my macros. So this is how I can do high days, low days. This is how I can maintain a calorie deficit over the week without feeling hungry and crabbed and having to miss out my favorite foods and stuff like that. So that's the kind of like knowledge gap that the training course was kind of centered around, trying to kind of like bridge that problem or that kind of disconnect, by providing, relatable, relevant, coaching advice and kind of guidance.
That's good. And when's the book itself out? Is it out already?
Yeah, it's out. I launched it literally. Well, at the moment, I just launched it through email, like my email list. So all my kind of current buyers got a link on Saturday morning, and everybody else on my email list got a link on Sunday morning. So I think the links are still live. I was meant to take them down this morning before I finished work, but they're all still live, because I had somebody else ping me just this morning saying, I missed that out, can I still get that 50% discount sort of thing? I was like, yeah, I think that links are still fine. If you got the email in your trash, go and get it and you can jump aboard. So the book is out. I've just not launched it in terms of any paid advertising yet at the moment, or speak about it too much, because I've got the training course coming out. So my idea was by the end of February, the training course would have been kind of run. It's due to run in the last week of February. The book's there as well, and then I can kind of move on to the next book perhaps, or start collaborating with other people, with companies, with gyms, chains, etc. So it was just now to have something, that people can kind of use as a not as a stopgap, but as a a lower price means to kind of.
It's smart, because I was having this conversation with a few of my clients. I was actually on a Facebook Live about how. See people right now in our world, in our little fitness world, and we're all guilty of it. We're all waiting. We're waiting for the gyms to reopen, or be told when the gyms are open, so as we can quote unquote go back to normal life and the new normal. And the reality is people still need help now. So we still need, I speak to other fitness professionals and say, I want to do online PT, but people don't, like, I won't get any clients. And I'm like, why won't you get any clients? Because there's no gyms to go to. So does that person not have a need for training help? So, they have a need, but they don't have a gym to go to. Well, that's where you come in. And it's the same with nutrition. And Tim, listen, my diet's all over the place because, I'm at home all the time now and I don't know what to eat and I'm all out of routine. So I'll come back to you for some nutrition advice once the world is back to normal.
Yeah.
I need help now, not in 6 months' time.
It'll come back in a much worse place, being even more kind of overweight and being less happy with the body and everything else. So yeah, it was just a case of, the book took longer than I thought, because a bit of a, not perfectionist, but I got a lot done, put it on hold, and then kind of finished it off. So, but I wanted it to be kind of good because it was going to be the first kind of published book. It was, I wanted it to look really good, really valuable, where when I did bring out maybe the second or third book, then people go, yeah, by the way, this is good. I'm coming back, as opposed to going, I was a bit so-and-so kind of thing. So I want to make sure it was really going to befit, my kind of philosophy, my approach, my usual general kind of candid, chat. So there's a few sweary words in the book, obviously, and it's written quite, just kind of candid, because it's just a conversation. It's literally me speaking to, my most frequent average client and going, here you go. And yeah, the training course is just something else that I can think about. What I'm planning and hoping to do is package it up as well. So whether record those sessions for kind of later use and launch it as a bespoke sellable training program, that's something that's definitely within the kind of cards, because the thing that I found, to much like yourself and like you started out, that nobody's really speaking to the demographic, and it's hard in that point. Why are we keep looking towards like gen population? Why are we trying to keep doing fads when they're not living your lifestyle? Davina McCall, Gwyneth Paltrow, and even it was one of my clients, obviously can't use the name, but she'd worked with a fat loss specialist, and paid a bit of money for this, and within 2 weeks, she was just like, not enough carbs. I'm hungry. I'm crab it. It's not working. I'm like, that's because although the fat loss specialist coach will know this stuff with a gym population demographic, where somebody goes in to do 4 weight training sessions and 2 daily cardio sessions, that's great, totally great. But it's not quite what you're doing. You're raising a family, or you're doing Zoom workouts in the morning and Zoom workouts in the afternoon, different lifestyle, right? So it's just finding that right approach. Yeah. And the best ones, I think, for fitness clients is understanding the fundamentals, focusing on what's really important, and building everything around these kind of 3, 4, 5 key things. And everything else is kind of like additional, optional, whatever else. But as long as you get these fundamentals in place, then just kind of go with the flow, find what suits you. There's no right, there's no wrong, and it's just creating a different mindset and a approach to nutrition and lifestyle, really.
Do you know what I hate? And I've said this, I'm guilty of saying this. You probably are as well, actually. Correct me if I'm wrong. Is when the group fitness attitude is, I'm teaching a class, it's not my workout, it's theirs.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's, you're basically saying, I'm not training, I'm not working out for that 60 minutes. It's like, okay, it is their workout and it's your job, but you're still expending a shitload of energy. You're still there. You're doing more than you would be sitting at home watching Netflix. Let's just be clear about that. And people, and it's back to that. We talk about this all the time, mate. So a group fitness instructor thinks if you're teaching 10 classes a week, you have no business eating under 2,000 calories a day. Like, it's just a flat line right there. In my opinion, no business eating under 2,000. Would you agree, disagree?
Yeah, well, it all depends on the person. Obviously, I would have to use the word depending. But yeah, you're generally looking to, I mean, most of the times I'm having my clients over time eat more calories as a total than when they kind of start with me. And the end result is, like Nicole, like Leslie, like Sarah, whatever else, all the other case studies that I've shown before, is that eating an average between either 400 to 500 calories more a day, lost 3, 4, 5 kilograms, so 8, 9, 10 pounds, and now looking leaner, happier, more confident. And the biggest win for me every time when I get any bit of like check-in or message or whatever else is like, I'm so happy, I'm loving my food. People say, my mom saw me for the first time in a few weeks, and she says that I look so healthy. And I can't wait to teach my class, because now I know that I've got the energy to teach how I want to teach. So I'm teaching now with so much more enthusiasm. I'm fucking alive. I'm like teaching with passion, and I'm cracking up jokes, and my members are loving it, because I'm not like, all right, I'm dreading this because I know I'm going to be tired, or I already am tired. So it goes beyond just like, have I lost 5 pounds? It goes into that body confidence, and then the business confidence, and then personal confidence, and then self, it radiates so much more than just going, oh, I lost 5 pounds. Yeah, but how do they make you feel? And it taps into all these things that are, in my opinion, the root cause of what people actually really, really want. Okay. They say they want weight loss, but they actually just want to fucking feel better. They want to be living what I term like a liberated lifestyle, out with that stress and guilt and anxiety. People just want to fucking just chill out, eat food, be happy, be lean, look in the mirror and go, yeah, you're doing all right, kind of thing. And that's it. That's
a big part of it now. I completely agree with everything you said there. A big part of it now is accepting what's going on. So this is like, very, very few people right now can do strength training because we don't have the kit in the house. I mean, most of us don't have enough weight to fatigue after 5 reps on a deadlift or a squat anymore. So it's just kind of accepting that's not there, and that, people feel like they're missing out and they should be doing it. It's the same, to link this back to just your nutrition, it's the same with people just getting obsessed with, steps and macros and calories right now. It's okay. Right. We're all working from home. The fact is, you will not be getting as many normal steps in per day. You will not be burning as many calories per day.
Yeah.
And it's people need to be okay with that. And it's like when I say okay, just accepting that and think, okay, I can't control this, I can't control that. And I know that's an easy saying, but I don't think people enough of the time spend enough time looking at what they can control. And
Yeah,
like,
it's a huge thing, and I would, yeah,
uh,
absolutely can agree. I think it's so easy, and these were the first conversations I was having with people. Obviously, when COVID hit and March kind of came up last year, and you know, a lot, you could just see the kind of doom and gloom. You could see people almost lost their identity because they're now not a group instructor because that outlet of being in the gym has been taken away.
yeah,
You know, so a lot of people base their self-worth on, and not in a bad way, by the way. I just mean they just invested so much in being, and so much enjoyment and so much like, you know, connection with members and being in the class, that once it's taken away, you know, the arse fell out of it a little bit, where it's kind of like, fuck, now what? Who am I now?
yeah,
You know, like, well, you're still whatever, Susie, you're still Jane, you're still John, right? But you need to focus on a different area. So you're still group fitness, you're still providing, you're still helping, you're still doing everything you are. The internal need to help people is still there. So that's not changed. You're still a great person. You just now need to find a different outlet. So it's focusing on that control to what you can't control on is massive, right? Absolutely kind of massive. The whole 5 minute 5 rule, you know, if it's not going to count in 5 years, don't spend more than 5 minutes thinking about it kind of thing. You know, there's one of those kind of taglines kind of thing, you know? So absolutely. Fuck, there was a point I was wanting to actually say there when you
well, I was going to say about steps. I put this on social media about 2 weeks ago, and just a poll on the story, no picture, just literally just a poll, which has I can't remember how I worded it, but it was like, which is better, 10,000 steps on a flat road or 10,000 steps up a hill?
Right.
And I was really, really surprised at how divided this was. I think I worded it like, which one will, you know, have a higher effect on your NEAT. I worded it something like that. And I was really surprised by how equal they were, because a lot of people thought like 10,000 steps. First of all, 10,000 steps is not the holy grail. We both know that. But it's how 10,000 steps up a hill is obviously going to burn more energy. So like, it's not like your steps are equal.
Yeah.
So it's that if you're at home and if you aren't limited to how much activity compared to what you would have done before, especially people living in, you know, housing estates and flats and all that, maybe small homes without a garden, except it's the quality of your steps. It's the quality of your general activity rather. And your steps is just one barometer. It's just one measurement. And, you know, go back to that, 10,000 is not the holy grail. You don't suddenly get to 10,001 steps and start burning fat for the day. You know, it's not like 9,999 steps is a bad figure.
No. No, it's, I mean, completely agree. And I think when you look at it like, you know, what's important to you, first of all, what do you want to achieve and what are you willing to do, right? And I'll say it quite directly to kind of clients as well, because there's no point me giving you something or us talking about something or trying to direct you towards a certain answer or a bit of guidance when you don't even want to do that, or what we're doing is not really aligning with your wants or needs or priorities, right? So what's really important to you? Do you want to maintain your mental health and well-being? Right, okay, how important? All right, very, very important. Right, cool. So number one, what are you willing to do to actually make that happen, right? I'm willing to do daily activity of 30 minutes, right? Fucking brilliant, right? Write that down, right? So on the notepad, right? 30 minutes, right? So what 30 minutes are you going to do? Are you going to do a home workout? You're going to do Les Mills on Demand? Are you going to do one of the other gym chain things? What are you going to do? Are you going to go outside and just do sprints around the block? Or are you going to just do bodyweight push-ups? I mean, there's no right or wrong answer. Just do something. You know, is it going to be gardening? Are you going to piggyback your child around the garden? What's it going to be? You're going to be pull-ups off the loft hatch? I don't know, whatever, right? So it could be anything. And then they choose, ideally. You know, they go, right, well, I can do that. I want to do that. I want to do that. Cool. So one, they've now taken that initiative going, well, this is what I can do. This is my priority. And then it starts embedding in terms of like that compliance, that consistency and everything else. And it takes away that like, I need to do X, Y, Z. And it's just kind of like listed in terms of hierarchy. Ideally, sure, we want to be doing this. If you don't want to do that, or if you can't do that, what else can you do then? Right, I can't walk up 10,000 steps, say, through a big heavy hill or up and down a valley or something like that. Okay, we'll do 10,000 flat steps. You don't want to do 10,000 flat steps. Okay, can you do 5,000 flat steps? Yes, right, we'll do that then. I don't want to do 5,000 steps. Right. Have you got a station back at home that you're willing to jump on for half an hour while you watch Jeremy Kyle? Yes. Right. Okay. We'll do that then. You know what I mean? So it's that kind of like putting it to the client and to participants and going, right. So, you know, you tell me, because there's no right or wrong, no real right or wrong answer. It just depends what you want. But you go back to like the initial point. People do put a lot more value on certain things than they probably really need to, you know, and I guess that's perhaps a fallout or a consequence of what we see in society, where society is telling us like through Instagram, through Facebook, you need to do this. And it's the highlight reel. You know, if you follow 100 Les Mills trainers or 100 fitness professionals / influencers, fuck me, once a week, they're all doing something really, really cool, right? You know, so if you follow this guy, he's skateboarding in his fucking bungee pants, right? It looks cool, but he's doing it once a week, right? You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
But then you watch another female influencer, and she's doing something really cool as well on a beach or something. That's Tuesday. So what you see through the whole week is like, fuck me, man. Everybody's doing this awesome, crazy, cool stuff.
Match of the day. We always say
so
about social
that's
media.
where, but we kind of get that. So we think that we need to live that, when in fact, we need to come back to the basics, go, right, what's my lifestyle? What's important to me and everything else? And I'm willing to do this, you know? And if you don't do it, hey, there's no excuses, eh? Because so did you let yourself down.
Yeah.
Because I'm not.
I love that message. I love that.
You know
what
I mean?
That's cool.
So yeah.
I want to say this. I didn't plan to say this, so I'll give you my thoughts and opinion on this, and it's a bit of a question as well. I'd just like to know where you stand. So it's the idea of eating exercise calories back. Right. So this is, I'll explain my thought process on it. If I have a client who wants to lose weight, it's one of these questions that always come up. Should I eat my exercise calories back? And my first answer is it depends. And then I always say, try not to, but if you want to and you feel a need to, of course you can. So I use the analogy of, right, it's 2021. Imagine you're trying to save, 1,000 pounds every month. And in January 31st, you've saved £1,000. So it's £1,000 sitting in your bank account extra. Happy days. And you get to February 27th, 28 days in February, and you have £1,100 sitting in your bank account. Well, it's like, well, you've got a choice, because you've said you're saving £1,000. So you could save £1,000 and spend that £100, or you could save £1,100. So it's like if you walk in, and it's priorities is what you said there. So if you were to walk into your house and you're trying to save £1,000 and you've got £1,100, you walk in and the toaster's broken. They're like, well, that's only 20 quid. I can fix that. But the TV's broken and it's £700. Well, then you have to make that choice. And I use that analogy right now. Let's link it back to the exercise. You're trying to save, let's say, 500 calories. Trying to save 500 calories and a calorie deficit. You've done a 500 calorie workout as well. So you've actually saved 1,000 calories. So yes, you have permission to eat some of those 500 calories back, but only if you want to, provided your protein's in the right place.
Yeah.
So what's your thoughts on my analogy, and what's your thoughts on the question, and what's your thoughts, Tim?
Well, in true style, I'll give you the short answer and the follow up with the kind of background for it. I tend to get people not to focus on their exercise calories, just as a starting point. It's like, I don't want you to stress about how many calories you burn out in whatever class, because then it becomes a competition, and then you do shit that you think's more calorific burning than the stuff that you actually enjoy. You know
what I've done, just to pause you there, I've told a couple of clients, I think I'm going to roll it out with everyone, to unlink their workout calories and their steps with their MyFitnessPal, because it causes this confusion.
Yeah.
I've told them to unlink that.
Yeah, it's I don't like, I mean, as I would just prefer it, and I've encouraged and almost as strongly recommended as you can without telling people what to do. Obviously, given the kind of reasons why, just not focus on the calorie expenditure. And I know if you are quite, a bit techie, and it's great to have the graphs, and it's great to like log your workouts and put it on Instagram and stuff like that. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that, right? That's absolutely fine, because you want to feel improvement, you want to show what you've done, and you want to help others. It's totally cool, right? Absolutely really cool. But it's a bit tricky, because you can get into this kind of, when I say this order eating mindset, but this kind of thing of like, the stress, this pressure of like, oh, I only burnt 350. Yesterday I burnt 380. Right, fucking doom and gloom. And it's like, whoa, stop, hold up, kind of thing, you know, or which one's better? This workout that says 400 calories, or this workout that says 300 calories. And it's like, it isn't like that.
Exactly. And it's not like all workouts are the same. So if you were to do 60 minutes of body pump and burn 500 calories, or 60 minutes of body attack and burn 500 calories, it's going to have two very different physiological effects on the body.
This is the thing, right? And this is something, not to bring my ebook again, but I was fucking really big on, where it was like one of the driving home messages was like energy expenditure, right? Finished instructors, PTs, right? 4 things, okay? 4 things. What everybody stresses about is literally one of the smallest things, all right? So you got the BMR, which is like 60, 65. You got your NEAT, your non-exercise activity, as you know, which was all the rage last year or the year before, right? When everyone was talking about it. That's 15, 20%. Your exercise, depending on the duration, will go between 10 and 20, right? So it's not as much as everybody thinks. And then your thermal effect of food, again, is between 10 and 20%. Okay, so there's 4 factors that influence the end result at the end of the day. But people think that in order to lose weight, you need to smash your body, hit the work, crush your workout and all stuff, because that's the kind of bit of the mantra around social. And I've been guilty of that years ago as well. Okay, I mean, I think we probably all have with good intentions, but it just leads into that premise. So we focus on 60 minutes. We think our fat loss is down to what we do in 60 minutes of fucking exercise. And that, when you look at it from, you just take a step back, right? And you go like, right, let's just think about this. You go, no, it's fucking not. No, it's not. It's a slither, right? What really factors is your metabolism, what you do in the other 23 hours, okay? And I appreciate that we generally sleep for 6, 7, 8 hours. So it's, you know, that doesn't do, but it's the other 16 hours you're doing that you're awake that actually has more effect than we do in an hour. And then when you add on choosing the right foods, increase in protein, but more fibrous foods, etc. When you fix your food, try not to swear there, when you fix your food right, and your non-exercise activity, all right, you can have literally 2 or 3 times more effect on your fat loss and everything else than whatever you do during exercise. And that's like the biggest thing. And I think where so many of my kind of clients have really made big kind of progress and change, because they're now putting less stress, less pressure on what the watch tells them, you know, and on what am I doing workout? Do I need to do a workout? So tell you what, don't do a workout. Take your kids or take your dog or hire a dog, borrow a dog, don't steal a dog, obviously, go and get a dog or something like that. You know, go chase a few cows around a farm, just go for a walk, go do some gardening, go do a clear out, do a bit of housework, you know, all just bend down, pick up, move, whatever. Go for a bike ride, just move, enjoy things, go and read a book somewhere. I don't know, you know, focus on these other things. And if you just literally have the good old fashioned basics, you know, 3 meals of like 25 to 30 grams of protein a day, you automatically start shifting the energy balance without even doing a burpee. I mean, how fucking cool is that? You don't need to do a burpee. You just eat better and you're burning more calories, you know, because of the amount of energy that it takes to digest and assimilate protein that does for carbs and fats. So that's where like, it's almost this kind of like magical thing, this holy grail. But when you just put a few things of these things in place, it's so much easier than literally just doing more training and eating less, because that's what people almost get ushered into, you know, and I said, not intentionally, but too much stress, too much focus on the exercise training, when that's one of 4 things that really take up you know, energy expenditure. So I generally try for that reason, as well as the kind of like stress about how many calories did you burn, I try not to talk about it. I'll give clients calories to do per kind of day. I'll give them an average over the week, because I really like to talk about over the week as opposed to every day, because nobody gained like fat or muscle within 24 hours. It's a process, accumulation process. So I talk about over the week constantly to try and embed that message. So an average calories over the week. This is based off of your current activity level, right? Now, if you suddenly start doing double that, then yes, this needs to change. But as long as you're working within this parameter, you know, these are your calories. Get 10% in of your protein, of your fats, of your carbs. Go by the fundamentals, go by your focuses, and you'll be absolutely sweet. it's when you start, right, plus this, minus this, and all this kind of stuff, it can be a bit kind of tricky. So I don't mean by saying you can maybe under-eat a few days to maybe carry over a few calories into the next day. That's absolutely fine, obviously, because it's still over the week. So if you've got a party or like a Zoom catch up or something on Friday, and it's Thursday, and you only eat 1,200 on Thursday because you want to take 400 calories into Friday, that makes sense. You know, that's fine. That's balancing. That's, you know, just being a bit consensual and focusing on what really matters, which is obviously stuff over the week. So yeah, I mean, it's fine. I wouldn't go around telling people not to do it. Just anybody that I'll probably kind of work with, I would try, and if they do it, try to put them away for those kind of reasons.
Yeah, it's something that I have found increasingly coming up.
Yeah,
and I think it's just back to that.
People stressing about the smaller things instead of like the bigger things.
The need to control. It's the need to have progress in something. So I just thought I'd bring it up. I admit we're almost out of time. I've loved this. It's been really, really good. Well, we're going to talk about sacrifice and Gary Vaynerchuk. Your email did make me laugh.
Well, it almost comes onto the point, because we do get a lot of stuff, you know, from people like kind of Gary Vee and you know, influencers and influence professionals and everybody around the world, you know, about different mantras and about the attention is obviously good, right? I mean, I'm old, I'm worldly wise a little bit, you know, I completely get it. You know, I'm nearly as old as the number on your hat, in fact, you know what I mean? So I totally get it, but it can lead into mindset that we need to be, you know, crushing it, which is Gary Vee's book title. You know, by 4 a.m. kind of wake up course, you know, working between 10 o'clock at night, 2 o'clock in the morning, and this, whatever. And I do get it, you know, I totally get it. So the little kind of story goes that I was listening to this book, out for like a walk, trying to get some fresh air, feeling a bit stressed about a whole bunch of stuff. And then the book is good, but he uses a lot of stories, okay, which is good. We all know stories are good.
Was it Crush It or Crushing It?
Well, I think Crush It's the book, the hard copy book. Crushing It is the Audible book. So he's basically reading the Crush It with little extra excerpts, okay? But the book literally is, so far, he said some cool stuff, but he's got like 24 people telling him different stories, which is good. But you after the 5th story, you're kind of like, yeah, right, I kind of get it. And you probably know me. I like to just cut to the bullshit. Tell me what I need to know in my work as well. I don't run around telling. I just like get to the point. Okay, cut the waffle and all the shit. So after this story, I was starting to lose a patience. Right, I was like, give me something I can fucking use, Gary. Come on, tell me all these stories, right? And then he went on about. Yeah, so what I would say you need to do is, you know, you I don't have an American accent, unfortunately. So you come home and you work, you're 5 to 6 o'clock at night, and then you do your thing with the family, and then you go and crush it, right? You go crush it. You go sit down at 9, 10 o'clock at night, and you work till 2 o'clock in the morning, every damn day, right? He's getting all this. And I'm like, all right, okay, cool. And then you wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning again, and you do it again, and do it again. And you don't stop until you've reached your fucking Mount Everest and whatever else, right? I'm like, fuck me, man, honestly, all right? And I literally said out loud, like, get fucked. Okay, literally just like that, out loud. Obviously, make a mistake, got the headphones on, walking down, got a funny look from the lady across the road walking her dog, which I had to like literally try to apologize for. I'm like, do you know that instant thing where you're really like involved, you're really listening, them talking to you, and you're like, mate, just get fucked, eh? Like that's not happening. I don't care who you are. That's not happening.
I agree. It's kind of the cost of success, and I get what he means. So I could look at Gary Vee as like his physical.
Yeah.
Say, right. You've like, I know he works out, but he doesn't spend time doing weights and trying to get himself big. So it's like how, you know, the analogy of how footballers are dumb, and most of them are. It's because they spend most of their life just playing football, so they're not in their books studying, and it's that's where the energy goes. So I get what Gary Vee said, but it is sometimes with Gary Vee, what people see on social media is very much like the highlights reel, because that's the headline, isn't it? You know, like, survive on 4 hours sleep, and in 5 years' time, you will have a multi-million-pound business. Yeah. Okay, you might have a multi-million-pound business, but you probably won't have any good relationships around you, friends or romantic. If you already have your children and all that, well, you won't have seen your children spend much time. So that's the cost of that sacrifice.
Right, and that's pretty much the kind of point of the kind of email was to say, look, it says this is fine for some people, like, and this is where I mentioned earlier on about the priorities. It's like, right, you need to decide what's your priority. Is it your family first? Is it your work first? Or is it your entrepreneurial business or whatever else? And there's no, and the beauty of this, there's no right or wrong answer. right? Because you could your priority is different to mine, and they're both right, obviously, okay? Because it's your life, you choose. Simple as that. Take accountability, write them down. You choose your priorities, okay? Because you're a fucking adult, okay? And then whatever you want to do for that is fine. So if you can do that and you want to do that, by all means, yes, but go on. I think Gary's point obviously was like, don't come home, sit, watch hours and hours and hours of Netflix, do fuck all, and then bemoan somebody else's success, or moan about not being successful or whatever else, okay? Which was totally fine. So you've got to kind of figure out, yes, I'm going to allocate 20, 30, 40% of my life to this. So I'm going to expect these kind of results. Totally cool. I'm going to spend this much time, my focus onto this to nourish these relationships, this family, etc., etc. Okay. So there's no right answer. And you've got to keep remembering when you see, like Sakata Gary and everybody else around social and stuff, you've got to keep making it back to you. Like, is this relatable to me? Can I use this? Does this fit my lifestyle? And it's the same kind of line of chat about nutrition, about training, about everything. Does it fit me and my needs? Because if it doesn't, then take what it's worth, discard the rest. Okay, so the points I've taken from the Gary will be like, you got to work, etc., etc. I've only gone to chapter 4. It's about 4 hours worth of kind of reading already, but he's told me that many fucking stories. He's not told me, a lot of other kind of stuff. But he's so yeah, I'll take that. But some other stuff I can just kind of dismiss because I'm going, no, when I'm putting my head down on the pillow at like 10:30, 11 o'clock, I'm wanting to sleep. Like I'll come home 2-3 hours of work, and then 10 o'clock is wind down time, phone away time, and whatever else. And then because I'm going back to work the next day and managing 10 people and everything else, or painting toenails of my 3-year-old toddler and stuff like that. I've got
that's important. Exactly, that's important.
Very important, right? Very important.
I sit here and laugh at it, but playfully, obviously. I would never be doing that. Obviously, I don't have a daughter or anything, but it's not how I would spend my time. And it is like one of my sacrifices is when I moved to Scotland. I made the promise to my mum, I'm coming home once a month. I'll be home, and the cost of that sacrifice is I need to work in a job that allows me to do that. So it rules me out of a lot of jobs.
Yeah.
And it's also expense. So it's maybe £200 in flights every month. It's a massive expense, but that's the way I want to live. And I know that's going to, quote unquote, I keep saying that in this chat. I don't know why I keep saying that, but to quote unquote, that means I have to miss out on a lot of things. Fine. That's the cost of my sacrifice. And I think, back to, what we've been chatting about, nutrition and training, is when you're putting effort into your nutrition, it might affect your personal life for a while. When you're putting effort into your training, it might affect you. If you decide to suddenly, I'm going to get up every morning and train at 6 a.m., well, that's probably going to affect your relationships at home. So you need to make sure, A, you're okay with that, and B, they're okay with that as well. And I think, using an example like Gary Vee again, he's a massive team around him, doesn't he? It's very easy to say you're working all these hours when you got about 20, 30 people pulling the strings for you.
and he's been able to kind of do that because of the years of work and sacrifice he put in for like years before, and I think literally the one good thing to say about him is that you just got to find your niche, find your passion, and work towards it, and then decide how important it is, what you want to achieve from it. Do you just want like a little extra income, or do you want to change the world, or are you like Elon Musk and stuff? Are you going to be disruptive? Or are you going to just provide a solution? Who are you speaking to? What's the problem? How you helping? What are you providing, and all that kind of stuff. So, have
you ever watched any of his early stuff, his wine videos with Gary Vee?
No, I've seen a few, but not many for a while.
Like for anyone who doesn't know how Gary Vee started on social media, he went onto YouTube in like 2006-07 and sold wine by doing wine tastings via YouTube, which isn't a thing. Like, it's not, you can't do wine tasting via YouTube, especially in 2006, 2007. I know there's variations of it now, don't get me wrong, but he made his wine company big because he was the only person doing this at the time. So like he does know how to graph and all, but you should, just from the pure quality point of view, go and watch some of those videos. And he does some of them where, the Gary Vee of 2016-17, he's narrating it at the same time. And he's just ripping himself to shreds. Very, very funny.
I just think it's you just got to try to be cautious of the instant comparison world of social media and the highlight reel. And just remember what's important to you is not important to me. You know, like every person will have a different set of circumstances, different list of priorities, different passions, different everything else. You know, you just got to make it kind of work.
That's it.
You live your life by your means, because why would you want to try to adopt somebody else's lifestyle? And then, because all that will happen if I try to live Gary Vee's lifestyle, right? If I look to Gary Vee and other like full-time fitness guys, like even like Jamie Smith and on the likes, I'll go, man, I'm sucking at it. I am sucking at it because I'm not skateboarding around in my fucking, you know, boxer shorts and budgie smug and stuff. I'm not living on Adelaide Beach or wherever else. I'm not having pool parties, and I'm not working this and I'm not this, and I'm not doing world tours. So you'll just feel overwhelmed. You feel as if you've been ineffective. It feels as if whatever else, but fuck me, like they're not doing what I'm doing. And that's a problem. Like so many first instructors, particularly mums, dads, small business owners, their lifestyle, their focus, their priorities, so different to people that they see on kind of Insta famous, you know, on Instagram, Facebook, etc. So it's just reminding yourself, what can I use from this? What's relevant? You know, what can I apply? Because it's always worthwhile asking that question, because there might be something you can really kind of pull from. But try not to compare, because it's just a recipe for disaster. Disaster.
I agree with all of that, but I do think a marketing campaign of Tim and Ricky skateboarding down the street in their budgies would sell a lot of your courses and a lot of my courses as well. So
I do have a South African flag budgie smuggler, so I'm sure
I've got Ulster ones.
Well, there you go.
I've got them. This would be awesome.
I only have one not disclaimer, but one contract rule before I enter that agreement, is that we don't do it in -8-degree weather. If I'm going to put a good show on out there, I want to put a good show on. Right? I mean, jumping out there in fucking freezing cold weather. Obviously,
we'll round off any good Netflix or similar binges and any good purchases under £100 or less.
What, besides my book, you mean? No. No, I'm not going to think of. I'm nearing Peaky Blinders. I've been kind of trying to get through that the last few months. So that's one on my list, but nothing else. What's Simon Sinek's book? Again, reading that through it's the second time, Find Your Why, as well as Gary Vee's kind of crushing it. In terms of value, Simon Sinek, for me personally at the moment, a lot more at the moment than kind of Gary Vee stuff, but I still think he has obviously a few points. But no, nothing else, mate. I've not been trying to spend much money, not going to need anything to kind of go on or see or whatever else.
I'll give you a good book. I'm telling this to a lot of people right now. Tools of Titans by Tim Ferriss.
All right. Oh yeah. The 4-hour working week, man.
Yeah. So I think this was 2019, maybe 2020, and it's basically there's about 50 different people with it. So I'm doing the audiobook, and they do like 10 minutes each, and it's just their story. So it's everything from Elon Musk, Arnold Schwarzenegger's in it, Hoffman, the ice guy, Wim Hof.
Ice guy.
Wim Hof, if you don't know him, that's fine, but there's loads of stuff in it. Like the first, you'll probably switch off after the first 4 chapters, because all of them are saying keto is basically you will be a millionaire and be the most successful person in the world if you do keto. So the first 4 of them, when I was listening to it, I was laughing because I was only thinking about you. But if you can get through that, it's a really, really good listen. It's like 29 hours on Audible, so it would be a big book if you're. I would recommend it. I'm just getting into the business and wealth section on it. Kind of goes nutrition, then health, then mindset, and now I'm going on to the wealth section. But very, very good. Listen, there's bits in it you can take out. What I will say is there's not a lot of input from females in it, which there's been 1 or 2, and I'm constantly listening to it. I'm thinking, I know why Tim Ferriss can be pigeonholed as controversial at times, but that'll be reasons. But I just thought I'd throw that out. Yeah,
that certainly would be helping his cause, would it? To be fair.
Yeah, definitely. Mate, what do you got on the rest of today?
Rest of today, I'm going to go through to Glasgow to see the V1 for 3 hours, hopefully
Excellent.
Do a little bit of kind of staging and stuff, but nothing else. Just going to put some final touches on things to the training course. I've not even really promoted it or talked about it yet, but time is marching on, so I need to kind of get things moving with that. And then that's it. Just constant work, man. You know what it's like. There's always a to-do list for every day. Trying to pick out what has to be done and what's an optional. and just manage time as best as we can. But no, just enjoying the sunny weather, but not much else. I'll try and make a plan for the next 2 weeks of a leave. And then,
well, I'll put all your contact details in the show notes, and people can get in touch and find out about not just your book, but the course.
Yeah. Well, what I'll do is I can leave the discounted launch discount for the book as well for anybody listening onto the podcast as a collab extended discount, because the idea was that I ran at a discount for the launch, and I was going to put up to full kind of price. So I'll give you that discounted link. So if anybody wants
Magic, yeah, we'll do that.
Opposed to having to pay literally kind of double from there onwards. So
we'll do that
as a
if anyone quotes a Ricky Long podcast, when you speak to Tim, you will get a 150% discount, a hoodie, and you'll even get a hug when it's safe to do so.
Oh, mate, it's been good. I think we could talk for fucking hours and hours and hours.
I'd love to.
There's so many rights we need to. Sorry, so many wrongs we need to right, and
so many rights we need to wrong.
Yeah, man, just fuck up the world. You know what I mean? Turn everything upside down. I think there's so much value that we can sort of give different instructors as well. It's just, and I think people just need help. They need to be kind of spoken to on a one-to-one basis. Just reach out and just keep focusing on, keep trucking through.
All right.
And yeah, but no.
Well, until the next time, mate.
An absolute pleasure. So, thanks for having us on.